Hey traders, this is Blake Morrow. You are listening to the week ahead video for July 25th, 2021. Super excited to have you here today because we have a lot to talk about this week. We have the Fed meeting on Wednesday, which could be a real market mover. Obviously, we're about a month away from the Jackson Hole Symposium. So, with the talk of taper and the possible tapering by the end of the year, it's going to be really important that we have a little bit of a discussion about this. But before we get into that, I want to talk about the announcement that we made earlier this week. Very exciting. We had brought in the Forex Flow Live folks. You can see Forex Flow Live. They have merged into ForexAnalytix. We're really excited to have the team. Ryan Littlestone and his folks came over, and we have merged into the ForexAnalytix platform. We're excited to have them part of the community. Now, the reason why this is important to you guys listening in is because we are offering a discounted price. We haven't offered a discount all year since like the beginning of 2021. So if you want to take advantage of the special pricing for this, we're giving 1 month, buy 1 month, give 1 month, buy 1 month, get 1 month free for ForexAnalytix, so you can join the community. And you can, if you decide to get a semi-annual or annual package, for those of you that have been around for a while, you can get them at a very discounted amount. So make sure you sign up, and when you do that, make sure you download the mobile app. I actually want to cover a couple features that we've added to the premium service of ForexAnalytix, just so you guys can see this. Aside from the multiple chat rooms that we have added for the Forex Flow Live folks, with news and our trades room and a news and research room that anybody and everybody can upload their the research that they get from banks or wherever. We've added all that, but what's really cool too is inside the premium platform you have our orders and options portion, which came over from the Forex Flow Live folks. We have obviously all of our analysis and the live streams, the news feeds from Live Squawk, the live calendars, the risk management tools, live Twitter integration, plus the mobile app that gives you all this information. Well, most of the information actually to your mobile device. So make sure you take advantage of it. And I want to say that we are retooling or rebuilding our mobile application. We've had it for 3-4 years, and it's time for a refresh. So we're going through that process right now. Actually, I think that's going to be out by the end of the year, but that doesn't mean you can't use the current version right now. So get on it, get involved with ForexAnalytix. I never tell you how long we're going to leave these pricing deals up. Usually we leave them up for a week or two. I try not to hold anybody's feet to the fire, because we have some people that will email us and say, hey, I need to get involved, and we'll leave it for an extra day or two. But look, when we pull it down, you're gonna miss the pricing specials. So right now is the time to get involved with ForexAnalytix at these prices. Okay, let's talk about this next week, and I want to talk a little bit about, well, I did the weekend analysis. Some of the teams actually out on holiday this week. I want to talk about the euro and how heavy it's trading ahead of the FOMC. By the way, it is very humid here where I live. We're getting massive amounts of rain. That's why the lighting's a little different. We usually have, I usually have sun coming into the office, and it's just not that way right now, which is good. I'm not going to complain. I live in the desert. We need the rain. More rain, the merrier. Anyway, I want to point out that the euro dollar didn't come out of the wedge. Well, it tried to. It tried to pop out of the upper end of its wedge this week, and then we just slumped right back below this really key trend line you can see through here. Really key trend line around, it came in around, now it's around 118, but it was like 117.75. And we talked about the importance of that number this last week. You remember, I even had you write it down if you remember last week's week ahead video. Notice that we closed below it. The thing about the euro, in my opinion, is the ECB, their comments couldn't get the euro to rally. So now the risk is that we could actually break lower. Now, also keep in mind that the S&P closed at all-time highs, and I do think the S&P will continue to climb, at least towards the upper end of its wedge. When you're in an ascending wedge in the market, the reason why this is important to realize that you're in an ascending wedge is because whenever you make new highs, they're usually short-lived. That doesn't mean that the trend has changed. That just means that the new highs are usually short-lived before you get a sell-off, tricks everybody into the market reversing, and then you get a reversal back up into new highs. I would expect that we're going to see the 44.50, maybe 44.60 level, which will be the upper end of this wedge before we sell off. Now, obviously, we're closing at a breakout. At the end of the week. The market really proved to us that the Delta variant, at least at this stage, is not a risk for the economy. What's the worst thing that we're going to do here in the United States? What? Reapply masks? I mean, and I would venture to guess that a lot of people are going to choose not to, so I don't think that we're going to be, disrupted here in the U.S. That doesn't mean globally we can't see some factories shutting down temporarily, and that might spur a little bit of risk off if the Delta variant continues to plague the rest of the world. But think about the U.S. The U.S., I think most people in the United States, and I speak for myself included, we're over it. We're vaccinated. I'm not wearing a mask. Well, I'm just giving you the attitude of most people. I'm not telling you what you should or shouldn't do. I'm just telling you most people, in my view, are going to be like, yeah, whatever, we're over it. But that doesn't mean that the risk of this variant spreading a little bit more aggressively isn't there. It's when the death counts start to rise. That's when I think the market would start to take notice. If it gets to pre-vaccination levels, again, that's the way we need to look at it. But anyway. Right now, we're still in an ascending wedge in the S&P, so that you have to keep in mind. We're in a bullish trend till we're not. We really respected the lower end of it this week. Now, let's talk about the Fed. I just came off of an interview, and let me pull up the dollar index so you can take a look here. Give me 1 second, wherever my dollar index is. There it is. And by the way, just so you guys know, you can actually grab these and move them wherever. These columns, the program itself is all customizable, so you can see what you want to see. Anyway, I want to talk a little bit about the dollar index as we head into the Fed, because the dollar index, inversely of the euro, is in breakout territory. I think above 93.25, it gets pretty bullish, but and then we're going to be targeting 94.50 roughly, and that's the 127% extension of the March-April highs to the lows back here in May. We'll be targeting up around the 24.50 level. That's the way I'm viewing it. Now, I want to talk a little bit about this interview that I did on Friday. I did an interview with Jim Welsh, Macro Tides. You might know him and seen videos of him on the Traders Summit website. He's wonderful. That interview should go live this weekend. We were talking about what he expects out of the Fed, and he'd illustrated that the Fed, the makeup, below the surface, the voting members, are going to be a little bit more hesitant about tapering. And so this taper conversation may be put on hold a little bit longer, especially knowing that the Delta variant is a variable that is unknown right now. And that's something that dovishness, if it does come through with the FOMC on this Wednesday, that could actually hurt the US dollar. The dollar could fall, and then we could see stocks continue to rise into all-time highs. I think that would be the baseline expectation right now, is that the Fed really wants to wait going into the next month and see if this Delta variant is really going to be problematic for the global economy. I'm assuming that's what the Fed's going to do. So when you look at technicals in the dollar index, what I would be focused on right now is a move below the 92.50 level. That would be the channel support. That would signal to us that really the dollar index is still in a range bound type of market. Now, a move above 93.25, then we're going to see that breakout. And I think that's the way we have to view it. Now, not all dollars are created equal. Obviously, if you look at the dollar yen has made a nice little recovery out of a descending wedge. We're pushed up against the 618 retracement. I haven't had a really good read on the dollar yen, I want to say, for quite some time, actually. It would be I just haven't had a good read on it. I think it's pulled and pushed a couple of different directions because of what's happening with yields and the volatility that we're seeing in the 10-year yield. Also, throw risk appetite on top of that. It's been pulled in a couple of different directions as yields come down, stocks go up, dollar yen's kind of trying to figure out what to do. I do think that this is pretty key resistance at the 110.65 level. If we do break above that, that could signal a move back above 111 towards 111.50 or 60. I want to talk a little bit about the dollar Canadian because this is a currency that I actually got run over with this week. I took a nice hickey. I came in the last couple of weeks long the dollar, which has been great. I bought the US dollar Norwegian krona. I bought the US dollar Canadian. It was a great rally, as we busted through this trend line, went above the 200-day moving average. It was awesome. Then we had this 200 pip move lower. That was a pretty aggressive move with nothing happening other than crude oil recovering. And the dollar Canadian did slump, and it caught me off guard. That was one of a couple of trades that really took me by surprise. But a break below, in my opinion, the 618 retracement, which comes in at 124.66 here based on my chart. We drop below that. That means we're below the 618 retracement. We're below this previous high that was posted in June, and we're below the channel support. So that would signal that there's going to be a deeper retracement in the US dollar Canadian. And one other false break I got to talk about, the other one that actually took me by surprise and took some of my gains from the last couple of weeks, was the sterling. And you can see this false breakdown in the sterling. It broke below that support. You can see that support came in around the 136.65 level. We broke below it, put in a false breakdown, and then popped right back up again. Now there's a long-term double top forming, but the low that we hit, you can look horizontally. This is a pretty big level of resistance. It was a resistance in 2019, but you have to go all the way back to 2009. And going all the way back to 2009, it was actually a spike. It was a spike low at that point. And so this, let's just call it roughly 135.50, 136 level. It is a big level of support for now. And I would venture to guess that a break below that level, let's call it 135.50. A break below 135.50 would be a very bearish event for the sterling, and it would trigger a big double top. We'd probably see a sell-off towards 130. That would be my opinion. We are a ways away from there, but it's something to keep in mind, especially if the dollar turns around and catches a bid. And do you think it's possible that the US dollar catches a bid? Well, yeah, especially this week. We have the possibility of a reversal once the S&P gets to 44.50, 44.60. And then we also have the Fed this week. Now let's talk about a couple of other things that are happening this week. But before I do so, let me mention this. If you guys like this type of content, you like our week ahead videos, please give us a thumbs up. That's not just for me, although I really do appreciate it. It's Saturday right now, and I'm making a video for you guys. So I appreciate the thumbs up, and I appreciate you guys subscribing to the channel for ForexAnalytix, so you don't miss any of our great videos. But it's not just me doing this over the weekend. It's our team doing this over the weekend, working for you. So give us a thumbs up. It really means a lot to myself and the rest of the team. Okay, let's talk about the other things that are happening this week. So, inflation's a big deal. You look at economic data that's happening or being released. Retail sales, I could care less. I don't care about retail sales. I do care about inflation data. And this week on Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, Australia is going to be releasing their CPI data. So that should be, we should be queuing into that. If you're trading the loonie, Wednesday morning, so shortly after that, it'll be Wednesday morning in North America, we have Canadian CPI, and that's all ahead of the FOMC, which is Wednesday afternoon. We have GDP in the US, and we should pay attention to GDP and advanced GDP numbers, well, because we need to make sure that the economy is still being supported, which if it starts to taper off a little bit, that would, I think our economy is pretty gangbusters right now, but advanced GDP numbers we should probably be watching fairly closely. On Friday, we have European GDP numbers, or German GDP numbers Friday morning in Europe. We have Canadian GDP numbers also on Friday, but more importantly on Friday, in my opinion, is the PCE data coming in Friday late in the morning. Friday morning in the US. That should be watched very carefully going into this next week. So guys, a lot of data this week, a lot happening this week. And remember, if you want my view and the rest of the views of the rest of our team, make sure you listen to our daily FACE webinar. It is free. Ryan Littlestone has been joining us from Forex Flow Live to give you a view on what's happening in Europe, a boots on the ground view, first thing in the morning here in North America. So make sure you join in. Guys and gals, my name is Blake Morrow. You've been listening to the Week Ahead video, and I'm so glad you spent your time with me. I'll see you guys on Monday.